is what it is. It's going to continue expanding. You'll continue meeting people, get out and network, and we're going to talk more about that, of course. So then we have out of this 37 retail dispensaries, and they are growing. All right. Let's talk about who's hiring in the United States. So let's talk about trimmers. They make somewhere between $12 to $15 per hour. Okay. They touch the plant. So there are positions in the United States that you have to decide upon that either touch the plant or don't touch the plant. That's up to you. Then we have bud tenders making anywhere from $48,000 to $78,000 a salary per year. Okay. And then we have a cannabis chef. So many people love this part of it, and edibles is one of the strongest growing markets in the United States. So maybe it doesn't look like much to you today, but this number is going to increase because it will become more valuable as more people currently buy edibles. Okay, so we are looking at $50,000 to $90,000 a year. Extraction technician. I love this position. I love anything that has to do with extraction. That is our sweet spot. When I consult around the country, I love the extraction contracts. And so that's about $80,000 to $105,000 salary. Grow masters, $120,000. There are jobs open right now, folks, just not here. All right? Doesn't mean you can't move or you can't do something, maybe take a summer, call these places, put your resumes in and see what happens. Don't let our state stop you from being successful in cannabis. Retail dispensary store managers. If you've ever managed in your life anything or would like to and know how to communicate with people, there's some great opportunities for managers. There's also big turnover, right? So get your resumes. Everything that you're currently doing, you can transfer that right into cannabis. No matter what your passion is, it can relate. And you can make money at it, monetize your passion. Physicians clinic administrative and referral. This is becoming huge. You may not see it just right now, but the referral clinics do not need the licensing. They don't need the $1 million contracts. So it's a great opportunity here, even if you want to start at just the administration area or sales. Lawyers, accountants, new product development managers, software developer, sales, marketing, journalism. Quality control assurance managers. We've already heard about that today, how important the compliancy area is. Well, this area right now, out west, is getting more stringent every single day, including Colorado. They took 10 steps forward, and now with their success, they are coming back and doing more quality control with those that do have licenses. Now, are they happy about that? The people? No, not the business owners. But it's better for the patient, it's better for the customer down the road with the particular quality that they need. And then we have security guards, delivery drivers. My goodness. Out west, it's like part of entertainment for the weekend is going on a weed tour. There are so many companies popping up with this. That's what's going to happen down here. Just get ahead of it. All right? If this is something that interests you, this is phenomenal. Go out west, take a tour, you're gonna have a ball. Then they have underground celebrity tours. You pick them up in a very dark vehicle, all the windows are very shaded, nobody sees in, nobody sees out, everybody's having a good time, right? So I'm just saying, it's coming, it's just a matter of time. Lots of opportunities. Let's talk about jobs in the country. We are at a 21% growth. We have New Frontier data. They predict that by 2020, 300,000 people will be employed in some sort of cannabis position. Pretty exciting.
Is that just in Florida?
No, United States. Yes. Everything that I'll be talking about from this point forward will be national. All right, I'll keep an open mind. Then, if you have a degree in science, advanced science or engineering, never thought that was going to happen. Great, big opportunity and big money that go with that type of credentials. Cannabis Coalition, you've heard them this weekend speaking, These green carpet events are all over the state. It's all about networking. You know, good people. You really need to get out, shake hands, get out of your comfort zone a little bit. You might have to drive a long way, but I promise you, the deals, the connections, the opportunities are not sitting in conference rooms. They're in the hallway, they're in the ladies' and men's room, they are over coffee or a cocktail. Last night we held a social last night for my meetup group, and we had so many wonderful people connecting. And it's one thing that they always say when anybody new comes, they say, what's really cool about your events is, as soon as you walk in the door, everybody's talking about marijuana. It's like we don't need warm-up time. We don't need any icebreakers, okay? We are the icebreaker in society. So it's you have to get engaged, all right? And green carpets is one of the ways you can do that as well. CBD, you've heard about it all weekend. Because it's legal in all 50 states, you right now can sell it. You can become a distributor. I don't have any wherewithal to make product, nor do I have any interest or millions of dollars to do a startup making CBD oil. But what we can do is, through the years, my company has become a distributor out of Oregon. I love the product for a couple of reasons. I take it every day. I'm a patient. I'm also a patient advocate. My family takes it. I love the product out there because it's a full spectrum, which are the buzzwords today in CBD. You want to make sure that you are taking something or selling something from the whole plant, right? So you want that entourage effect. And so you really get a beautiful natural anti-inflammatory from the oil, capsules, patches, suppositories, and things of that nature, whatever the medical condition is. We sell 30 products. We give family and friends discounts, and that's how I built the business, through testimonials. So once you get about 20 testimonials under your belt, you're in business, all right? And then you can sell this in physicians' clinics, grocery stores, fresh markets, nutritional stores, chiropractor offices, through massage therapists. Now you don't have to stock any product. You don't want to warehouse this, and you also don't want to pay the shipping costs. So for instance, what I do is it goes directly from the manufacturer, which they grow in the United States, so I know the quality of the soil, and I can get my hands on the documentation, what's in the oil, what are in the capsules. So I want to see the third-party laboratory testing. That documentation is so valuable. So what you do is we distribute, it goes directly from the manufacturer to the patient, customer, right to their house. We don't touch it, okay? You don't want to keep touching product. It's a waste of money. And warehousing is ridiculous. There's just not enough margins to keep it competitive. It's a very competitive market. We used to buy oil at $90 a bottle. Now we can get it at 40. Okay, so our margins are shorter on the take, but that's okay. It's good. We're competitive. Be competitive. So if you buy in cases, for instance, then let's say a physician who wants to sell it, or a chiropractor in their office, and you are their distributor, then basically you'll just be placing case orders. Anything over 12 then will get shipped in cases directly to the office. Again, not through you. That would be the best way to go. So you can sell CBD anywhere.
Can you show wholesale pricing?
So wholesale pricing, let's just say, very So the name of the company that we're distributors for is called IRE CBD, and I'll spell that for you. IRECBD.com. IRE CBD. Now they've just been purchased by another large corporation, so things are they're still 7 employees. They're still working really, really hard, but they have just been purchased recently, within the last 60 days. And so you start seeing this a lot. We didn't think we were going to see it for a long time. We thought it was going to take 5 years before we started seeing the little companies get bought up by the bigger companies. And then I'm not talking big pharma yet. That's later, okay? They're going to really wait until we do all the work, right? and then they're gonna take over. But anyways, you're more than welcome to contact me. You can become a distributor anytime for that. And then we'll talk about wholesale pricing. I really can't go into that today because that's not the premise of this discussion today. But please, by all means, just contact me. I'll be happy to share with you what the potential of income is. So let's get educated. You're here today. This is wonderful. You go to these conferences. Awesome. Put them on your resume. Share with people that you are you're proficient. You're getting proficient in this language. But there is a Cannabis Training University. It's an online course, and you can see the list of items that you can learn and then either start your own business or get a job in the industry. But then you'll come out with a master's certificate. And people, because it's getting so competitive, right? And there's so few jobs in the state of Florida right now, that a certificate will help you. Yeah, okay, and then this will grow. So if you're interested in any of those, bartender training, or you want to get into how to grow or cook with cannabis, then this particular online course is, I think, $250. And it's not affiliated with my company. It's just something that is being offered in the state. Your master's certificate in cannabis, just cannabis, the industry. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Is there a certain university that the state of Florida,
How many of those?
a lot of other states require badging for dispensaries in their learning or 60 learning? Is there, has the state picked out one? I know there's one in Orlando, there's several. I've taken a couple of courses, but if you're gonna do business in Florida, should you or has the state come out with a school that they recommend for doing business in this particular state that you are aware of?
You know, this is a great idea. Her question basically is, what other programs are what is the state of Florida supporting? So, yes, sir, in the back.
I'm at Florida Gulf Coast University. We're developing a certified cannabis educator certificate.
That's excellent.
It's so exciting.
It'll take a bit, yeah.
And I know we said we were going to hold the questions till the end, but I did want to say a couple of things I really liked about Catherine's slides. When you look at the before and after snapshot on legalization, you know, there's been a significant change as far as adoption. And then when we talk about CBD oil, I agree with that opportunity. I do want to caution, and again, I am in-house for Green Rose of Florida. I also distribute their product. However, I want to caution about saying we're legal in 50 states. So there have been some recent legal developments related to that. So there have been seizures in a few states. There are states that have identified CBD as being illegal in their states. I've traveled to Nebraska, Iowa. It's usually the middle of the country, possibly the south. So and again, 6 months ago, we could have said, oh, legal in all 50 states. Now we can't say that because, one, we're seeing an increase in local law enforcement misinterpretation of the DEA's guidance, which was further clarified this week. And also, we're seeing an issue where we had a lawsuit or oral arguments on the case of Hemp Industries Association versus the US DEA on February 15th of this year out in San Francisco. The holding came back 2-3 weeks ago, basically saying that they're recognizing it as a controlled substance, but they're saying CBD is legal in states where it's legal, meaning states do have that. They're recognizing the authority and power of states to say it's illegal in my state, like we have seen in Nebraska, where we flew out to support a person selling our product who was arrested erroneously, had spent 18 hours in jail, and we're helping her be represented for that case. So with that said, I recommend, and what I do for my clients is doing a state-by-state comparison chart where you really research the laws for that particular state. And there's certain places we don't like to sell. Alabama, we don't like to sell there. Iowa, we don't like to sell there. We don't have to. There's enough, just looking at Florida, there's enough activity in Florida where you can start building a business related to CBD. But definitely be cautious because there are seizures happening, there are arrests happening with regards to CBD. And then the other piece of the presentation that I really appreciated was with regards to the employment. And I have a staffing agency, Canna Headhunters. So you can go to www.cannaheadhunters.com, and we speak to employers. We have employers that we work with, including dispensary license holders, and then we accept resumes for people interested in getting into the industry. So I didn't want to interrupt.
It's a
you,
big
but I know
discussion, isn't it?
Yeah.
And here we are
Save the questions
speakers.
till the
Can I
end.
clarify something? You just
Yes.
said seizures as in not epilepsy, seizures as in.
Seizures is in seizing product. So actually taking products
Right.
off shelves, giving warnings to
Right.
store owners saying you can't carry CBD. Every state varies as far as what they do with those products. Are they testing it for the presence of cannabidiol? Some are, and then all of us are, you're gonna find cannabidiol in Green Road's product, even though it has 0% THC.
Okay,
Or they're
thank you.
testing for THC, and if there's an absence of THC, then they give it back to you. So every state is very distinct in their approach to that.
If I may.
Thank you. Could we, just for a second, we're gonna hold the questions, because obviously they have us on a timer. So if you wouldn't mind, I'm gonna end in just a short moment, everyone, okay? And then you're more than welcome to take the floor. So right now, need yourself, get educated. Here's some great links. Get the news, get a daily feed, and CFN Cannabis, the financial network. I'll be speaking on cannabis investments today, so that you can have a look at that. Your Cannabis Business Executive, CBE, they put out some wonderful news. This is very current. You can't really read anything about 2017 or 2015, although great information. Right now, you have to stay very, very current with what we're saying. And then MJ Biz Daily, they do conferences nationwide in a tremendous way, but they also put out news. And then Leafly, if you haven't seen Leafly yet, they're pretty tremendous. Not just to look for those dispensaries and be a mapping, but they've really expanded with the news and sharing information, which has been really tremendous for us. So you want to stay educated while you're looking, or while you want to start a business or expand your business, depending on where you're at for the opportunity there. So now we can open up for Q&A. Let's take a couple of, let's do 3, because obviously we need to move on. Do we have time yet? Do you know what time it is? Do you know?
We'll take your questions.
Okay, great. Yes.
All I want to say is, be smart, trust but verify, and cover your assets. It's CYAs. Don't, listen to the tax guy and then listen to the lawyer. If they say this is not a good idea, try to stay out of the gray. And literally, make sure you're doing it right, have your one company, and then doing business as. And keep marijuana name and other stuff out of the business that you're going to register with the state or whomever, or sunbiz.com, so that you don't bring the attention to yourself immediately. That's just business. That's just smart business.
It is, but a lot. Thank you for that comment. And a lot of people in this industry, you got to keep in mind, a lot of the CEOs or patients who had a great idea,
Right.
and they haven't walked, or activists who had a great idea, they haven't walked the business acumen, which is why consultants like Catherine, consultants like myself, Green Sustainable Strong, we want to work with you because we want to make sure that you're successful. But even when I was specifically to that USDA case, the Hemp Industry Association, USDA, and what's happened afterwards, they did legitimize the fact that the Farm Bill exists, and those who go through the Farm Bill pilot programs are authorized to create CBD, to have a marketplace related to hemp and CBD. In addition to that, this week the DEA put a clarification on their website which makes the distinction between marijuana and hemp, which is what we've been asking for them to do, which we've been wanting them to do, and it's like clarification on Rule 7530. So I just saw it yesterday, and I've been reading it over. So I just want to make sure that you guys are aware that
So
there's progress.
2 words: tax attorney. They'll tell you how to set it up initially. Don't change it after the fact. Do it first. Do your homework, and that way you won't get the attention. And if anybody attacks that, they're not going to get the company. They'll just get the parent, and that won't affect you or your business, or if you have a practice, or if you have a home and everything else, they won't be able to attach it. So, tax.
Great, thank you so much. Another question?
I'm interested to hear that you call your CBD Irish CBD. It's one of the issues we're having in Jamaica now, where a lot of people, Jamaica has always been known for ganja and cannabis. And so a lot of people are jumping on the bandwagon and naming it things, that's a Rastafarian word, that you're coming with, which we have an issue with because we know that people are trying to jump on that bandwagon. It gives them a great social media boost. But it is concerning when I hear those names being used and thrown out there. So, and they have absolutely nothing to do with Jamaica or anything to do
You may not know that exactly, so you could even do some research with iRead, the company. They've been in business for many years. But I understand what you're saying. You're sensitive to the word.
I'm sensitive to the word.
To the word.
You're not the only person, or that company may not be the only person.
Of course.
So I'm sorry if I'm
Free world to use whatever words.
No,
But they're very passionate. These are really, I think once you get and you research a little bit more into their history and where they came the name, they're more in line with you than you think. They really are.
I'm saying that not this singular item. So
Oh, I see.
let me
Just
pull
in
that.
general.
It's a statement because right now we are trying to protect our intellectual property as well. Words that have been made or things that are associated with other entities. It's a new space. So I'm just making the comment just to as a
Thank you. We have time for one more question. Yes.
So, Dr. O'Many, Veterans for Cannabis, did either of you work with any veteran troops or know in any way that
Yes.
we veterans can get involved in this? We've been talking, a lot of us, as Dr. pointed out yesterday, we're high-functioning individuals, and we need to get the most important things done for the country, you call us.
Yes.
So there's no reason why we shouldn't be functional, effective members of the society we're trying to reintegrate into. So if there's anything you can do to help us get our other veterans in the door of this business, please give it.
I have a great answer to that, but Catherine, do you
Go ahead.
want? Okay. So I'm so encouraged that you're here and that you're speaking for the veteran community. I have a strong affinity with the veteran community, although I did not serve. So first, the staffing agency, Cannabis Headhunters. I started it really to focus on diversity in cannabis. Diversity, as defined by the organization I represent, Minorities for Medical Marijuana, includes ethnic diversity, gender diversity, including people with disabilities, and also including veterans in the whole market. So there's that focus. Also, Cannabis Headhunters, I have a director of veterans and disabilities outreach. He is a veteran. His name is Jimmy Johnson, and he should be here today because I think we're going to meet. I know he was here yesterday, right, Ryan? Yeah. So please speak to him. He specifically targets the veteran community, and we hope to get them employed, but not just employed at entry-level positions, which is what we're seeing.
We want to employ other people.
Absolutely. So having multi-tiered employment and creating careers for veterans, and we just had it on Memorial Day. We actually had him on the phone with my friend, client, partner, Jose Bellin from Mission Zero, and we were all talking with another veteran out of Philadelphia, Chris Mullen, who drives around with 22 body bags in his car to represent the 22 veteran suicides. So we were talking about a partnership between all those groups and raising awareness through employment and also tracking the results of employment and how it ties into the reduction of veteran suicide and the feeling of contribution with the veteran community. And then the last part of that is Green Roads of Florida has just announced a partnership with Mission Zero. So Jose Bellin and Danielle Bellin's organizations, they're partnering with Green Roads. They're being brought in-house to see how we can utilize the Green Roads CBD to improve the health and wellness of the veteran community. So with everything that we do, the veteran community they're not only in thought, but they are stakeholders in the process. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate all of your time. You've woken up really early this morning to be here. We appreciate everything you're thinking. We're available for questions after, as we just finalize this particular session. There are more going on in the other room, but we'll stay here for a little while and be happy to engage. Oh, I'm so sorry. Wait, Nicole's presentation, of course. Let me introduce Nicole. Come on up, Nicole. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Catherine, for quite an insightful presentation. As I mentioned, my name is Nicole Van Rensburg, and I'm here to talk to you today about the patient journey, from physician recommendation to product dispensing. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Bloom Medicinals. Bloom Medicinals is a minority-owned and family-owned medical cannabis business. We own and operate medical marijuana dispensaries in Illinois and Maryland, and will be expanding into Connecticut, Pennsylvania, Arkansas, and Ohio later this year. Our corporate headquarters are located about 3 hours south of here in East Boca Raton, Florida. With a combined 115 years of healthcare management experience, we have a deep understanding of patient care. My family and I have been managing medical clinics very similar to the ones that many of you might manage or outsource to. Our cannabis expertise includes supply chain management, retail operations, community outreach and engagement, technology development and deployment, staff hiring and training, and much more. Regulatory hurdles for these businesses are exceptionally high. Go back.
Will these be available at the end?
Are they on those?
I can email them to you. I'll provide you with my business card. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Our mission at Bloom Medicinals is to provide safe access to high-quality, affordable medical cannabis. We do this in a personal and compassionate manner with the goal of helping our patients achieve a better quality of life. We aspire to professionalize the medical cannabis industry. Through a proven history of setting the standard of care, we ensure regulatory compliance and efficacious treatment outcomes. A little more about me. I've been in the healthcare industry for the last 15 years, and I've worked specifically in the cannabis industry at the executive level since 2014. I've spearheaded company decision-making on strategy, business development, and policy setting. I've served on the board of state medical cannabis associations and organized one of the industry's first group purchasing organizations. I'm an outspoken advocate for medical cannabis. I've led workshops on behalf of the Marijuana Policy Project, the National Conference of State Legislatures, MJ Daily Marijuana Business Conference and Expo, and now I have the privilege to be here with you today. I actively write on the topic of medical cannabis. I've been published in USA Today, Chicago Tribune, Crane Chicago Business, New Cannabis Ventures, Canalog Blog, Cannabis Culture, and many other publications. Prior to working in the cannabis industry, I was the CMO of my family's medical businesses, diagnostic testing companies. Over the next 10 to 15 minutes, we'll discuss the 4 stages comprising the patient journey. These stages include initial interactions prior to obtaining a card, education on cannabis and the card application process, consulting with the dispensary agent to develop a plan of treatment, and finally, order fulfillment and product feedback. We'll conclude with a review of the data collected through retail sales, peripheral factors impacting patient enrollment, and the future evolution of the patient journey. Along the lines of community outreach and engagement, we interact closely with our local community. We speak directly to prospective patients and figuratively hold their hand throughout the application process. Our community outreach team is composed of cannabis enthusiasts, patients, activists, veterans, and we attend events from 5Ks to health fairs to meetups. We also plug into already established condition-related networks. These include local chapters of the Epilepsy Association or AIDS Foundation. The reason we do all of this is because we view medical cannabis outreach as part of our social responsibility. We seek to advance healthcare reform at the national, state, and local level. Here are a few photos from community events we've participated in the past. Digital interactions. We interact with prospective patients through online and digital media. These interactions include cannabis communities on social media, like Facebook groups that aggregate news and survey patients, dispensary rating and review sites, such as Leafly and Allbud, email communications, alliances with thought leaders, media outlets, and of course through our own website, which offers card application material, our menu, product discount eligibility, and general program information. We embrace medical cannabis education for prospective patients and medical practitioners. We regularly host educational events at our stores or a local library. At these events, we discuss the medical efficacy of cannabis, we review the terms of the state's program, and we summarize product offerings and suitability by condition. Patients have the opportunity to raise questions. Common questions asked are, how is medical cannabis different from black market cannabis? Will my insurance cover cannabis? Can I hold a firearm or concealed carry permit and still have my medical cannabis card? How might cannabis fit into my current medication regimen, and what are the anticipated side effects? In this slide, you can see an invitation for a past event we hosted, along with some of the educational material we provide. Let's now look at the application process for patients. I recognize that a lot of this was covered in yesterday's presentation, so I'll just touch on it at a very high level. In short, all patients must be diagnosed with a qualifying condition, demonstrate proof of residency, obtain a recommendation from a qualified ordering physician, pay a processing fee regardless of the ability to obtain their card, and submit a passport-sized photo. Any physician who recommends cannabis for a patient must determine that the risks are reasonable in light of the benefits. Exceptions are made for veterans receiving treatment from their VA for the physician recommendation, as VA doctors are employed by the federal government and are forbidden from recommending. I will now walk you through a brief tour of one of our dispensaries. I'll highlight some of its most salient features. You'll notice that we very much follow a pharmacy model. Here's a shot of the exterior of a dispensary. This particular dispensary is located in a commercial zoned retail area. It measures approximately 3,000 square feet. The exterior is intentionally unassuming so as to best blend in with nearby businesses, and there's no text references to marijuana or associated leaf imagery. Next, we'll enter the public access area. Here, we meet with prospective patients and caregivers, hold educational events, greet and check in patients, and interact with really anyone from the general public, including physicians and prescribers. Here, we see our limited access area. This area is accessible only to patients and caregivers. Their medical card must be verified prior to entering the facility. For verification of medical cannabis purchase eligibility, patients or caregivers must present their medical cannabis card along with a second form of state-issued identification, such as a driver's license. This information then gets cross-checked in the state's traceability system. Upon verification, the patient then proceeds into our manned trap or controlled access room, which is managed by 2 buzz-in doors. This is shown by the photo on the left. Once the patient passes through the man trap, they then enter our pickup area for orders placed in advance, as shown by the photo on the right. Here you see the waiting room. We use the waiting room as an opportunity to educate patients on changes to the state's program, new products, daily specials, and upcoming events. While complying with all of the state's requirements, much attention has been paid to the interior design of the space to create an environment that is functional, that is comfortable, and brands our dispensary. Here you see our showroom. Large monitors visually display our product offerings, pricing, photos of products, lab results, and other relevant information. We also showcase paraphernalia and accessories here. Finally, you see our dispensing area. This is where we accept payment and dispense product in a manner akin to a pharmacy. The rest of our facility, which is not shown, is the restricted access area. This includes our vault, our drive-in garage door for product receiving, inventory control room, product packaging and labeling area, and administrative offices. In states that permit delivery, patients obviously don't need to visit a dispensary to obtain their meds. Our dispensary places a high value on patient intimacy as a means to grow and retain our patient base. We train our staff to understand the patient journey. The patient's initial visit lasts approximately 30 minutes. In this visit, we aim to gain an understanding of their medical condition, knowledge of cannabis, and lifestyle. Many of our dispensary managers are pharmacists or pharmacy technicians, and they may contact the recommending physician or other healthcare provider to collaborate on a patient's plan of treatment. New patients are advised to start low and slow. In subsequent visits, we work to get to know the patient. We listen to their feedback. We suggest they keep a journal of their progress and the medication's effects. Additional interactions with patients may be online, maybe via email, or by telephone. Patients are also invited to attend a variety of events at our dispensary, like cooking classes and support groups. We host these on an ongoing basis. Finally, we continuously evaluate the patient journey to identify what's working and what are our areas for improvement. I'd like to change course now and share some of our retail data with you, as I believe this further illuminates the patient journey. On average, patients at our dispensaries spend about $100 per transaction. In the more mature markets like Washington and Colorado, the average transaction value goes down as the cost of the product goes down. With regard to time spent in the store and frequency of visits, the data is quite surprising. Although patients can place an order in advance for pickup and move expeditiously through the fulfillment process, many like to come in and take their time. They visit the store about 1.5 times a month and spend 20 minutes selecting their meds. They like to talk about new products to hit the market, they like to smell buds, and just generally talk about cannabis. Products spent by category. Inventory is organized into 5 product categories: edibles, extracts, flowers, tinctures, and accessories or paraphernalia. We carry approximately 150 unique SKUs at each of our dispensaries, and about 1/3 of these products are non-psychoactive. Raw cannabis material or flower is our best seller and accounts for approximately 60% of gross sales. However, with the increasing popularity of oils and concentrates, this is changing. Percent of orders generated online. Approximately 35% of our patients place an order online through what we call our Click and Collect proprietary e-commerce platform. We consider online ordering akin to a product reservation, as the payment must still take place in person or if permitted at the dispensary or if permitted by law at the time of delivery at the patient's home. Product discounts. Discounts are given to the terminally ill, to veterans, to those on Social Security or disability, and the indigent. Additionally, we run product specials, recognizing that many patients are price sensitive. Relationship with dispensary agents. As previously mentioned, our agents are empathetic and caring, and they're trained this way. They form a close bond with the patients they serve and aim to carry out the company's mission of high-impact, relation-based care. There are a host of peripheral factors impacting patient enrollment, both in Florida and in other medical cannabis states. There is a general ignominy around cannabis. Many patients are still what I call in the figurative cannabis closet and don't openly disclose their consumption to their employer, friends, or family. The application processing time. Unlike typical prescriptions, which are filled by the pharmacy in a day, it takes time for the Department of Health to process the patient's application. Depending on the case and depending on the state, this can take up to 30 days or more. Types of qualifying conditions. Although many states have expanded their list of qualifying conditions, and they include those suffering from cancer, AIDS, glaucoma, post-traumatic stress disorder, ALS, Crohn's disease, many other conditions like migraines or anxiety still are not included. Fourth, there are restrictions on caregiver enrollment. This is especially impactful for those patients living in a group home. So consider, for example, a memory care facility whereby a head nurse is restricted from picking up cannabis meds for Alzheimer's clients. residents, excuse me. There is no cardholder reciprocity between states in many of these states, whereby many don't provide any recognition of out-of-state medical cannabis cards. So if you're a cardholder in California, let's say, and you're visiting Florida, you won't have access to obtain your meds through a Florida dispensary. Finally, cash is the only acceptable method of payment. This presents an obvious challenge. The cost of cannabis is prohibitive for a lot of would-be very ill patients who don't have a steady source of income. So how will the patient journey change moving forward? Technological innovation will extend the range of product offerings. Many of these new products will be in line with traditional pharmaceuticals. You will see increased openness about cannabis consumption and enrollment in medical cannabis programs, and this will result in greater patient-to-patient interactions. Product delivery will further extend the patient journey outside the confines of the dispensary. You'll have greater access to information and continued accretion of public acceptance that will produce smarter and more well-informed patients. And lastly, with industry consolidation, dispensary chains will emerge that offer standardized lines and product lines and consistencies in the patient experience. This is particularly likely in vertically integrated markets where businesses have control of the product from seed to sale and leverage their intellectual economies of scale. At the end of the day, it's really all about the patients. I am grateful to participate in a program that provides relief to so many of those suffering from very serious illnesses. I'm hopeful that the information I've provided to you today is of value and offers some key takeaways on the patient's medical cannabis journey. I'm happy to answer any questions you have at this time, and certainly I'll stay afterward for one-on-one interactions. No, so we're headquartered in Florida, but all of our operations are out of state.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The location you showed for your dispensary one there, what state was that in?
That's in Germantown, Maryland, which is Montgomery County, about 30 to 45 minutes from Washington, D.C. That one was opened in December of 2017. It's a trifurcated market whereby licenses were issued for cultivation, processing, and dispensing separately.
I was wondering how important is the location for you, because most of the dispensaries here tend to be kind of seedy places.
Yes.
I know in Fort Myers it's very true. I don't know if other places like that. Usually a casino next to them and a smoke shop on the other side.
Yeah.
And so that would be very nice strip.
Thank you.
And
Appreciate the compliment.
may I just interject? By law, the dispensaries and medical marijuana activity has to be zoned like pharmacies now. So what you're seeing is like when the original application, probably the first applicants, when the cities and municipalities were going towards a light industrial placement. But since 2017 legislation, it's opened up to where municipalities can either ban or have the activity. If they decide they're going to have activity, they have to zone it just like they would zone a pharmacy. So you're going to see an improvement in that area.
So our preference is to identify a location which has visibility and operate out of there. With that said, we very much take what we can get. We recognize that some cities are more welcoming than others. The state typically requires that we have some type of buffer distance from what they call sensitive uses. And this varies from state to state. In some states, it might just be a school, which is a preschool, private school daycare, library, or public park. In other states, you have to be a certain distance from an opioid addiction treatment center or maybe a recreational center. So you really have to come to understand the laws. But one of our most laborious and painstaking tasks is actually finding locations. And that's something that I'm intimately involved with. It's not easy.
Just to be clear, raw flower is sold in dispensaries in Florida, like in Trulieve. The way it comes is in a sealed plastic container. But but you take the cap off of this flower.
Well, yeah,
No,
that's,
I've never done, I'm saying, but it's in there because they have the buds
Yeah.
in the cases that you can smell through plexiglass, and they show you that next to that little piece of bud in the clear thing you can smell, that actual raw flower is in the vape cups for the true flower, and it's supposedly 3.5 grams.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but-
so,
just a clarification, they are permitted to have a vapable product. The industry recently had a victory with the smoking case, so we're gonna start to see how things change as a result of that. I know Trulieve posted on Facebook that they put in their amended application so that they would be able to have new products, and those products would include flower. I'm sure all the other license holders are doing the same.
Yes.
I like what you said about your location. That was something that I was very taken aback by when I went to California, which is a very older market, it's a more mature market. But most of the dispensaries looked almost like a seedy back. There's no signage. You felt strange going inside and you lined up and coming from where I was to work. But, you know, I was surprised to see that, you know, even though we have such a mature market, that there was still no branding on the outside of the building. You know, it was, you didn't even know it looked like that.
When you have
I was afraid I'd get robbed.
when you have a product with this duality of purpose, whereby it has both the medicinal benefits and then the social aspects to it, and it's been in many ways born out of the black market. I guess that was out of necessity that they were almost choosing to be hidden. I will tell you that we do have dispensaries in industrial areas as well. In Illinois, for example, we operate one of 52 dispensaries there, and yes, we might be hard to find, but patients drive, and they'll drive 45 minutes, an hour to come to us, and that's also because there's no other dispensaries around. And in many ways, we try and sort of overcompensate for that stigma associated with the industry, and try and create a place that's inviting, that's comfortable, and we do also make sure that it's functional in the sense that patients come in, about 25% of our patients are using some type of assist to be ambulatory. So if that's a walker, a cane, a wheelchair, and providing really any type of physical guidance that we can to ensure that they have the best experience possible. Is there another question? Okay.
Is Bloom Medicinal vertically integrated?
We currently are not, but we are hoping to be in Arkansas.
Okay, okay.
One more.
Did I hear you earlier when you were describing the different rooms that people go through as they enter your facility? Did you say man trap?
Yes.
It blows my mind. Can you please elaborate on what a man trap is?
Sure. So that's between the public access vestibule and the showroom. The patient first shows their card, and then they provide a second form of state-issued identification. Then they get buzzed in to this man trap. It's a very small room. The man traps are both on entry and exit. The intent is so that we can control patient flow and thereby mitigate any type of security risk. These are requirements by the state, and you'll see that although dispensaries are designed slightly differently, that there's a sort of commonality amongst them in terms of layout and general floor plan.
Shouldn't it be person trap?
I want it to be called a woman trap.
Non-gender specific trap.